Ciao and welcome. You know when you have a barbecue and you've got some meat left over, it could be anything, it could be chicken, it could be lamb, it could be pork, steak, whatever. And then you're thinking, what shall I do with that? And very often you end up just picking it off the fridge. Well, I'm no different. I had a barbecue a couple of days ago for Julie's birthday, and I barbecued a rolled breast of lamb, which I unrolled, then I marinated with some breadcrumbs, parsley, garlic, and I cooked it with some vegetables. And this is now the leftover. And today I'm going to be showing you, oops, I just dropped an onion, never mind, I'll pick it up in a moment. Today I'm going to show you how I'm going to be cooking that by making a beautiful pasta. So it hasn't got to be lamb, it could be anything. But just quickly run you through the ingredients and then I'll make a start. So I will be making a base of a sofritto using a large carrot and some celery and an onion when I go and get it from the floor. Red onion today, but it can be white. Also, I will be using some fresh plum tomatoes over here and a little puree, passata here. No, actually it's tomato puree, not passata. And I've got some, that is also gone on the floor, my tomato puree. I got dodgy hands today. Also, I will be using some mushrooms, and pasta wise, I will be using some Orzo pasta here. It looks a little bit like rice. I love it because it becomes lovely and creamy and releases lots of starches. And on the cheese front, I will be finishing the cheese using, I will be finishing the dish using some Parmesan cheese at the end. So hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. I need to go and pick up my stuff from the floor and I'll make a start. If I have, I'll tell you later. And like a lot of Italian recipes, I'm starting with the base. So I'm chopping the parsley, the little leaves included for my sofritto. I will keep my sofritto ingredients very small, as this is going to be orzo pasta, so in line with that I will chop them very finely. And here is my runaway red onion, which I have just retrieved from the floor, and like I did with the carrot and with the celery, I'll chop this in tiny little pieces also. Something like this is just perfect. One thing I do like, as Julie making a lot of noises in the back with a hosepipe, one thing I do like with these recipes is that actually there is hardly any washing up to do. So I will add a little olive oil at the bottom of the frying pan first, and I'll turn the heat on up high so that it becomes lovely and hot. My oil is up temperature, and I'll show you a couple of tips to see how you can check it. Firstly, it's the most simple one, is just to gently lift the pan and turn it, and you can see that it's moving very freely, almost like water, and that is because the oil is really hot and it moves freely. Another one is to just get a piece of your vegetable. I've got a piece of carrot here, and put it somewhere where there is some oil, and it should start sizzling. You can see that it's already sizzling, so it's hot enough and a good time for me to add the rest. And I'll give this a good mix all together, and I'll leave them to sizzle for a good 3 to 4 minutes until the vegetables become slightly softer. In the meantime, I can deal with my meat. And here it is, and to give you some context, this weighs about 260 grams, but as I said to you before, it's not about the quantity, it's about the flavour. And if I had sausages and pork and steaks, I would actually mix everything together and use whatever you have. But obviously this is at the moment in a big chunk. It's still cold as it is out of the fridge. So what I'll do, I'll start chopping it into smaller pieces first. And by the way, if you look, there is here some residues of my marinade. These are breadcrumbs which have been marinated, as I said earlier, with garlic and also with parsley. So I'm not adding any garlic today because there will be garlic and also a little cheese in here. But if you didn't have any garlic in your marinade, you might want to add a little clove of garlic to your sofritto also. And I'm now going along and I'm cutting my lamb into little strips. Something like this is perfectly okay. And just like I did with the vegetables, I want to keep all of my ingredients relatively small in size. So I'm not going back and I'm chopping my lamb in little cubes, approximately 1 centimeter pieces. And after a few minutes, my vegetables are beginning to soften up, so ideal time to add the lamb next. And I'll turn the temperature up and I'll mix it together, and I will leave it to sizzle alongside with the vegetables for about 2 or 3 minutes so that all of the ingredients amalgamate together. The smell is very good and it's about to get better, as I will be adding about 1/3 of dry white wine, and I will leave this to now cook, and I'll wait until the alcohol from the wine evaporates. In the meantime, I'll get some of my other vegetables ready, and I'm starting with the mushrooms, and I'll chop these in about half a centimeter pieces, similar vein, not very big. And I got a good handful, about 100 grams of my plum tomatoes, and I'm just simply chopping them in half. And all of the alcohol from the wine has evaporated, and if you look, I've got this beautiful base where the lamb has released a little bit of fat and has given me the most wonderful wonderful base. So before I carry on though, I'll add about a tablespoon of tomato puree so that I finish my little tube, and I'll mix it in so that it's incorporated by all of the lamb and the vegetables. Immediately followed by my mushrooms, and I'll give the mushrooms a good mix to ensure that they're absolutely smothered with everything, and I'll put a lid on this time, and I'll leave them to just sweat and cook gently for about 5 minutes. And literally within 5 minutes you will see that all of the mushrooms will have shrunk considerably, and also they've released a little water, which actually is a good thing because I will be adding a little water next, but not before I add my tomatoes so they can go in, followed by a little pinch of salt, and of course, as always, some pepper to taste. And I'll mix everything together, and at the same time I will add my orzo pasta. I'm adding 180 grams. This is a little bit like rice, so it will grow, but more importantly it will release so many beautiful starches, and it will make my finished dish lovely and creamy. I mix the pasta and the tomatoes together for a good minute so that the pasta absorbs a little bit of that initial liquid, but I will now top it up using some hot water which I just boiled. And what I'll do, I'll cover all of my ingredients, if you look, and I will make sure that I'll go about 1 centimeter above all of the ingredients, just like this. And I'll turn the temperature up so that it starts boiling once again. Actually, the water is hot anyway. And I will turn it down again so that it will cook on a low and gentle heat. And I will mix it occasionally until the pasta is ready. And this will end up into a beautiful creamy finish. Beside the variety of ingredients, what makes these particular dishes very, very tasty is going to be 3 additional things. One is fresh herbs, and this is parsley, which Julia just picked from the garden. Also good quality, in this particular case, good quality olive oil, extra virgin, but you do not have to spend an arm and a leg. We always buy olive oil for cooking purposes, but also olive oil for salad. And for cooking purposes I buy the more economic stuff, but extra virgin. I never buy anything that is not extra virgin. And of course the Parmesan cheese. So I'm getting these ingredients ready, as they do make a big difference at the end of the meal. Some of you have actually commented that it's not until you start watching my channel that you realize the wider use and application of olive oil. So I'm very pleased I was able to do that. This pasta requires anything between 8 to 10 minutes to be fully cooked, and has been cooking now for about 4 to 5 minutes. You can see that has already grown quite a bit, and it's actually beginning to look very nice. So another 4 to 5 minutes and it will be ready. And my pasta is ready, so I can safely turn it off and move it over here so it stops cooking. And next thing is really critical, and this is a trick which my mum taught me, funny enough. Always add the herbs at the end, and also I will be adding some olive oil next, like this. And I'll give everything a good mix, and at the same time I will also cover with the lid, and I will leave it now to rest for a good 2 minutes. And the olive oil and the parsley will release a beautiful flavor, and then it'll be ready. Okay, and we're there. Oh, the smell is really good. The lamb obviously has got a predominant presence, but as I said, if you use pork or combination of pork and chicken, it's also very good. And I'm gonna be serving a portion next. And I am aware that I've already added a little olive oil here, but my recommendation is that you go ahead and put a little on top of your plate also. And likewise, get a little parsley and sprinkle it on top. And of course, if you follow me this far, you might just as well go for the full Monte and add a little Italian cheese. As I mentioned before, this is Parmigiano Reggiano or Parmesan cheese. quantities to taste, but I do love it, so I'm gonna be quite generous. I've realized that as I watch some of my videos, I say that I do love it quite a lot, and I'm generous with quite a lot of the ingredients. But that's what happens when you love food, and this actually smells really nice. So I'm gonna be trying some. I use a fork, so that I should really use a spoon, but I'll be fine. It works really, really well. The lamb has a predominant taste. Lamb does, also because it was marinated before, but all of the other ingredients complement the dish very, very nicely. And as I mentioned, you can do it with any meat or combination of meat together. Delicious. Try and you will see what I mean. And also try with Orzo pasta, because it makes a big, big difference. Arrivederci, make it, I hope you do, and buon appetito. Ciao, thank you for watching.